Welcome back. This video will explain how to work with birthdays in HearForm Pro. There are a couple of ways that you can work with birthdays in HearForm. For example, if you want to simply send a greeting to a patient, you can click this button here and it says text birthday message. And that's because over here to the far right, I've set the default to text for appointments, birthdays, and recalls. If I wanted to send that as an email, I'll just change it, and notice the icon changes to an envelope. It also changed to a printer if I had selected mail. But let's just give an example. I'll click this button here, and it warns me that I don't have permission to send information, so I may want to review that and make sure that I do have approval before I do it, or I could just say, well, my HIPAA policy suggests that I can send a birthday greeting without having approval, but that's again between you and your HIPAA privacy officer. So that's one way to send that. I'm going to click the button here and it will automatically send the desired text, email, or print a letter, and in this case it fills in part of that text for you. Now I'll show you how you can change the birthday message in just a moment. So in this case, hello Jennifer, another year awaits you, etc. It puts the assigned office location here, and down here we've set up HearForm. You can change it to be anything you want, to include a data protection and security policy and a confidentiality notice. So I would then send that to jennifer@patient.com, and it's on its way. Let me continue instead, and it records the fact that I did that behind the scenes. Let's go to the letters print history area, and it shows that I emailed or printed or texted a birthday message to Jennifer, and in this case which email address was used. So let's go back to the home screen. That's one way that you can send a birthday message to an individual, just by clicking, in this case, the icon right below it. You can also click this button right here, and that starts a birthday process. So for example, if I wanted to send all patients who were in the month of 12 or December, I could put in a range like anything greater than or less than 15 or something like that. I could say I want only those who were born greater than 1923 or who are over 65 years of age. I could just go on and on with all those different variables. I can also do the same thing below. I could say I only want a particular kind of patient who is active in Office A with Clinician B, any combination of those who were referred by a physician or a certain detail. But I just want to leave this all blank except for the month, and then I'll click Find Selected Birthdays. Well, then a list pops up. I'll zoom in just a little bit for you to see. And this list shows a few things that might be important, and that is the patient's first name, last name, date of birth, but also separates the birth month, day, and year, as well as their age. And the reason it does that is it sorts or arranges all of these in a list based on the day of the month that they were born. That way, when you're mailing out letters, for example, you may want to do that just gradually over time. You don't necessarily want to send a birthday greeting if they were born on the 31st of the month. You don't want to send that on the 3rd. You may want to wait a week or so, whatever you determine is best. So that's why they're all sorted this way. And when you go to print them, they could be printed that way under the birthday letter area, or you can print your labels that way as well. Let's scroll out just a little bit here. I can also do this. I can print, email, or text all found birthdays. Let's click that button and see what happens. So I can send a birthday greeting to all displayed patients. Well, I may want to omit all those that are text or all those that are email or print, or I may want to constrain to before I do this part right here. Let's just do constrain and see what happens. Here's my long list. Most of them are mail. I'm going to mail those, but I'm going to constrain, and I only have 2 people who want to be texted, for example. So then I can click a button and text. I can do them one at a time by clicking the text bubble here. I can omit an individual line if I decide that's not appropriate, or I can click the text button. Let's do that. And in this case, it's going to go to Dorina at her cell phone number at Verizon or vtex.com. So I would click that button and it would go right to her. And in this case, I'm not going to actually do that. Let's continue. And the next one goes to Leroy, and he's at AT&T. Because I've set that up on the home screen, let's also not send that. But let's go now to look at the home screen, and I'll show you what I mean. So I've set that up ahead of time if I'm going to text, because I've chosen their carrier, and that way I can use my email, in this case I'm using Outlook, to send a text right to their phone. So that's just something to keep in mind. Let's do that again. We'll click the birthday here. We'll do 12. We'll find our folks here. And then again, I could go to my birthday area. And now I'll just preview these instead of actually print them. So I'll click preview and zoom in just a little bit so you can see it. So Daniel gets a message saying, we've noticed that your birthday is coming up on the 1st. And as I scroll through quickly using the control key and down arrow on my keyboard, or you can scroll right here by clicking the pages there, you'll notice that the day that they were born shows up on the letter itself. Now, of course, you can modify these letters yourself, and that's not hard to do. That's covered under another video. But let's go back to the home screen and take a look at how you can modify some of the text for email or text. To set up your texting defaults or your email defaults, you'll click the Setup button at the bottom left, and then you'll come over here to this button that says Text Email Defaults. Towards the bottom, I can text this message for birthdays or email this message. Now, I happen to have a separate message for each one. You may decide that your message is appropriate for both texting and emailing. This is just an example of some of the messages that you can put in there. You also see other messages on here for different reasons like appointments. But keep in mind also these red buttons up here. Those buttons will allow you to enter whatever desired confidentiality notice if you want. Just type that or paste it in there. We already have something and you might find that appropriate. It's completely up to you and your HIPAA privacy officer. And then if you check this box here, then that will automatically be inserted into texts and to emails. The same is true. Let me close that for your privacy notice and set up your privacy notice here. And again, you can put after by contacting us at ABC123, whatever you want to put in there. And then make sure that you have this checked if in fact you want that to appear on your birthday text and some of your other messages that you're going to be emailing out. So overall, that's how you do that. You can you can print an individual letter to Daniel just by clicking that button there, or you can find all of your birthdays and send texts, emails, or printed letters to each of them individually or as a group.